There was a sign when I turned onto the avenue, children walking on the roadway. It was accompanied by the silhouette of a child kicking a ball. I paused for a second or two, gazing at it. It was old. The fluorescent yellow paint was cracking around the edges, and there weren't many houses on the avenue anymore anyway. All the structures were now condemned, or most of them. Lots of piles of rubble. That was all that was left. I hadn't been along this way in years. Was there still actually children playing around these parts? I kept going up the hill, my heart pumping, my legs beginning to complain. Usually I wouldn't have my morning walk in this abandoned district. However, I wanted to take an extra long stroll this morning to compensate for all the extra roast potatoes I ate last night with my steak pie. The road was quite steep at about 30 degrees or so. Eventually I crested the hill, and that's when I saw another sign which said, "Do not speak to children." A kind of oddball notice, I thought. I stared at it and wondered if this was because of a kidnapping incident or something like that. Or maybe the children around here have cognitive difficulties or suffer from social anxiety. There was a picture displayed under the warning notice that appeared to be an adult with her hands clasped over her mouth. Pretty weird, eh? I continued walking. The road had now flattened out somewhat, and I approached a dilapidated building on my right. I could see it through a gap in some thick trees. I walked around a crook in the road, and there was another sign. But this one looked different. It was white with no drawings, just text, and it looked new. It wasn't peeling and dirty like the other ones. I observed fresh, churned-up earth along the bottom as if it had been erected just a few days ago. The message it contained, however, was unsettling. It stated in bold capitals, "If you travel beyond this point, you will be solely responsible for the cost of your search and rescue." There didn't seem to be anything immediately dangerous beyond the sign, just the road ahead which straightened out, cutting directly through the forest. What was the danger? Was it because of some new construction work? Or are they still demolishing houses? I wasn't about to mess around with the law, and so I turned to head back. But then my breath caught in my throat. There was a child behind me, peering out from around a tree. As soon as I turned to look, the little girl had already darted out of sight. My heart flipped. What the feck was that? I almost called out to say hello, just to announce my presence. But then I remembered the sign, "Do not speak to children." I took a deep breath and started walking back down towards home. I was thinking it could be a good idea not to hang about any longer, and then I heard a cracking or snapping sound. I whipped around. Several yards behind me, there was a line of children. They stood there holding hands stretching right across the width of the street. Young boys and girls, around 8 or 9 in age, all wearing old-style clothing, jumpers and dresses, overalls and button-down shirts. What the feck, I said to myself. They were pale too, and puny, and their expressions were unsmiling, becoming threatening. They began to sing, but in a flat drone. There was something horribly wrong with their faces. Their eyes were dark, empty pits. Their mouths was stretched open wide, revealing pointed needle-like teeth. They slowly and deliberately began to form a circle around me, closing in so that I had no way of escaping.